He fought and bled for the princess. Now the queen seizes him. HFY Stories. Best HFY Stories. Kale rode through the dusty plains of Terran 4, the twin suns of the planet beating down on his worn hat. His boots kicked up small clouds of red sand with every step as his mechanical horse, its hooves sparking faintly with each movement, plowed through the frontier terrain. This was no ordinary day on the frontier. The air was heavy with tension, and Kale could feel it in the way the wind shifted across the valley. Ahead, the small outpost of Arden Crossing lay under siege. Pirates, outsiders from the outer reaches, had taken the Princess Leora and held her in the central tower. Kale had fought alongside countless men and women across the frontier, but this battle was personal. The princess had shown him kindness, trust, and faith, and Kale had vowed no harm would come to her while he drew breath. He slowed his mechanical horse near a rocky outcrop, scanning the outpost. The walls were high, made from the glimmering metal of local minerals, and the towers shone under the sun. But it was not beauty Kale sought. It was the safety of the princess. Kale crouched behind the rocks, checking his weapons. His revolver, a hybrid of classic design and futuristic energy tech, was fully charged. Alongside it, his grappling hook launcher rested in its holster. Each tool had been tested in the harshest conditions of the frontier, and Kale trusted them with his life. He took a deep breath. "Kale, are you sure this is wise?" came a voice from behind. His companion, Mira, a scout from the plains with eyes sharp as a hawk, joined him at the rock. She scanned the tower carefully. "We could try to wait for backup." "There's no time, Mira. The princess may not have that luxury. Every minute counts." He adjusted his hat and mounted his horse. "We move quietly, strike smart, and bring her back safe. That's the plan." Mira nodded, though worry flickered across her face. "You always dive straight into danger, Kale. I just hope you're thinking this through." Kale smiled faintly. "Thinking and feeling are different. I feel it's the right time." The pair moved with stealth across the open plains, the outpost's guards unaware of their approach. Kale's eyes caught the faint shimmer of energy shields around the main tower. They weren't strong enough to stop him, but they would alert the pirates if triggered. Precision was key. Kale and Mira reached a narrow canyon that led to the rear entrance of the tower. Grappling hooks were fired with quiet hums, latching onto the ledges above. Slowly, they climbed, careful not to make noise. When Kale reached the top, he surveyed the inner courtyard. Several pirates patrolled, their movements predictable but alert. "This is it," Kale whispered. "I'll draw their attention. You get the princess." Mira's eyes widened. "Alone?" Kale nodded. "I'll be fine. Just keep moving." He leaped down to the courtyard, rolling as the guards noticed him. Kale didn't attack with violence. Instead, he used clever distractions. He shot small pulses of light from his revolver into the walls, creating illusions of movement. The pirates spun in confusion, trying to locate him. Kale ran, dodging between crates and machinery, leading the guards away from the tower's entrance. Meanwhile, Mira slipped inside the tower. Her movements were careful, her heart pounding with every step. She found the princess in a small chamber, unharmed but frightened. Leora's golden hair fell over her shoulders, and her eyes brightened the moment she saw Mira. "Kale?" she whispered. "He's creating a distraction," Mira replied softly. "Come on, we need to move." Together they navigated the tower's corridors, avoiding the pirates who were now searching frantically for Kale. Every corner brought a new challenge. Energy doors that required quick thinking, traps set to slow intruders, and locked chambers that Mira skillfully bypassed. But at last they reached the top level, where Kale had positioned himself to meet them. Kale spotted them and called out, "Here! Quick! Follow me!" The trio dashed across the open rooftop, leaping over gaps and using the narrow walkways connecting the towers. Below, the pirates were in disarray, frustrated by Kale's clever maneuvers. Using his grappling hook one last time, Kale swung across a chasm to the side of the fortress, landing with a light thud. Mira and Leora followed, and the three disappeared into the rugged plains. Hours passed as they navigated the desert terrain, returning to the safety of Kale's outpost. The princess's guards were waiting, surprised to see her safe. Leora ran to Kale, her expression a mixture of gratitude and relief. You risked everything for me," she said, her voice trembling. "I don't know how to thank you." Kale tipped his hat. "No thanks needed, princess. It's my duty." "And besides," he added with a small grin, "you've got to admit it's an adventure worth living." Leora smiled, though unease lingered in her eyes. Yes, but I can't shake the feeling. This won't be the end. Something tells me more is coming. Cale's jaw tightened. He had sensed it too. The frontier was unpredictable, and while pirates were a known danger, the universe had stranger threats waiting in the shadows. We'll be ready, he said firmly, no matter what comes next. Yet even as he spoke, a shadow loomed far above them, unseen and silent. A sleek, regal ship descended from the sky, cutting through the atmosphere like a silver arrow. Its markings were unfamiliar, elegant, and unmistakably royal. Cale's instinct screamed caution. This was no pirate ship. From the ship's ramp, a figure emerged. The queen. Unlike the princess, she carried herself with authority that radiated through every movement. Her eyes scanned the outpost, finally resting on Cale. You have done well, Cale, she said, her voice calm but commanding. And yet your journey does not end here. Come with me. Cale frowned. With all due respect, Your Majesty. I don't know what you mean. I serve the princess, not you. The queen's gaze was steady. I am aware. But the universe shifts quickly, and your courage has been noticed. There are matters you must face far beyond this outpost, far beyond even the princess's knowledge. You will come with me, voluntarily or not. Cale looked at Leora, who gave a small, almost imperceptible nod as if silently urging him to be careful. Cale understood the warning. The frontier had taught him that sometimes battles weren't fought with fists or weapons. They were fought with patience, wisdom, and courage of the heart. With a reluctant step forward, Cale approached the queen. All right, he said, his voice firm. I will go with you. But know this, I will protect the princess, no matter what. The queen inclined her head. That is why I've chosen you, Cale. Your loyalty is rare, and it will be tested in ways you cannot yet imagine. As Cale stepped onto the queen's ship, Mira by his side, and the princess watching from below, the twin suns of Terran IV began to set. The horizon blazed orange and pink, signaling the end of one battle, and the beginning of a journey that would take Cale far beyond a frontier, into mysteries, adventures, and challenges that would test his heart, mind, and spirit. For Cale, the fight for the princess was over, for now. But the fight for the future, for understanding, and for the truth had only just begun. The Queen's ship Luminary glided silently above the plains of Terran IV, its polished hull reflecting the last light of the setting suns. Cale stood on the deck, Mira at his side, feeling the gentle hum of the ship's engines vibrate beneath his boots. The Princess Leora had returned to the safety of her palace, but Cale could not shake the uneasy feeling in his chest. The Queen's words had been calm, almost kind, but her command carried a weight that made him alert. Cale, the Queen said from behind him, her voice calm and deliberate, you have proven your bravery. But courage alone is not enough. The frontier is changing. Forces beyond pirates threaten not only the princess, but all the worlds she protects. Cale glanced at her, eyes narrowed. You mean there are more dangers? And I'm supposed to trust you because? Because, the Queen replied, her gaze steady. I know your heart. You act with honor, with loyalty. That is rare in the frontier, and it is why I need your help. Help with what? The Queen gestured toward the viewports, where the stars stretched infinitely, and a massive, swirling nebula glowed in shades of blue and violet. Beyond that nebula lies the settlement of Arkan Reach. Forgotten by most, it holds knowledge and resources that could tip the balance of power across the frontier. But it is not abandoned. Guardians remain, testing the worthiness of anyone who enters. Your task is simple in words, though challenging in practice. Retrieve a device hidden within the settlement. It is called the Stellar Codex, and it contains maps and histories that could prevent disaster, or cause it if it falls into the wrong hands. Cale frowned. A test? And if we fail? Then chaos spreads. Worlds may fall, alliances crumble, and the princess will face dangers she cannot yet imagine, the Queen said softly. But you will not fail, Cale. Not if you remain clever, patient, and united with your companions. Mira looked at him nervously. So, it's a mix of adventure and danger. Classic frontier style. Cale allowed a small smile. Exactly! Just the way I like it, the Queen nodded approvingly. You will have guidance. But know this, the path ahead is as much a challenge of mind as of skill. The Guardians of Arkan Reach do not fight with weapons alone. They test your wisdom, courage, and your ability to work with others. Cale studied the nebula. Its swirling gases made it difficult to predict the path ahead. All right. I'm in. But what about the princess? Will she know where we go? The queen shook her head. For now, it is safer if she remains unaware. You have already protected her once. Now you must do so through strategy. You will encounter beings who respect strength, but even more, they respect integrity. Show them who you are, and the Codex will be yours to retrieve. The journey through the nebula was unlike any Cale had experienced. The ship seemed to glide through liquid starlight, with gases curling around the hull like ocean waves. Colors shifted constantly, illuminating the ship in soft glows of purple and silver. Mira stood beside him, marveling at the beauty while also keeping watch for any dangers. "This place feels alive," she said quietly. "Maybe it is," Cale replied. "Or maybe it just wants us to think it is." Hours passed. Sensors picked up nothing unusual, yet Cale's instincts were restless. The frontier had taught him that beauty often concealed danger, and though the nebula was quiet, he remained vigilant, ready for any surprises the Queen had warned them about. Finally, the luminary emerged from the edge of the nebula. Below lay Arkan Reach, a settlement built on jagged cliffs and suspended bridges, glowing faintly with energy lights that shimmered in green and gold. Strange structures jutted out of the rock, neither fully natural nor entirely artificial. Cale felt a mix of awe and caution. "There it is," the Queen said softly. "The Guardians await. You must prove yourself worthy to enter." Cale nodded. "And if they don't let us in, then you find another way." Intelligence and creativity often open doors stronger than any weapon. The ship landed carefully on a flat plateau near the settlement. Cale, Mira, and the Queen's envoy, a small robotic assistant named Lyra, disembarked. The air was crisp and smelled faintly of ozone. Cale felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. Every step into Arkan Reach would test their patience, ingenuity, and courage. As they approached the first gate, a figure emerged. It was tall and slender, covered in robes that shimmered like liquid metal. Its face was hidden beneath a reflective mask, revealing only glowing eyes. Cale stopped. "I am the Sentinel of Arkan Reach," the figure said in a voice that resonated like a gentle bell. "No one enters without proving their intent." Cale stepped forward. "I seek the Stellar Codex. I come not to steal, not to harm, but to protect those who cannot protect themselves." The Sentinel's eyes glowed brighter. "Words are easy. Actions reveal truth. Solve the challenge of the triad, mind, heart, and courage, and you may proceed." Cale looked at Mira. Mind, heart, courage sounds like a test in 3 parts. "Let's start with the first." The Sentinel raised a hand. A holographic projection appeared in the air before them, a puzzle of shifting geometric shapes, floating and rotating in midair. "Mind," the Sentinel intoned. "Align the shapes to match the pattern hidden in the stars, only then may you continue." Cale studied the shapes carefully. Each piece seemed random, yet when he noticed the subtle echoes of constellations in the nebula they had passed, he realized the solution lay in connecting the patterns. Mira assisted, aligning shapes and rotating pieces with deft hands. After tense minutes, the final shape clicked into place, glowing brightly. The projection vanished, and the Sentinel's voice rang approvingly. "Mind proven, now heart." From the shadows, a small creature emerged. Soft golden fur, eyes large and trusting. It was trapped under a collapsed walkway. Cale immediately knelt, gently lifting the debris while Mira extended her hand to calm the frightened animal. "Sometimes," Cale said softly, "strength is shown in kindness, not battle." The creature scampered to them, nuzzling Cale's arm. The Sentinel's eyes glowed once more. Heart proven. Now courage. Ahead, a chasm stretched wide and deep, with only a narrow, unstable bridge to cross. Cale examined it carefully. "It's not fear we conquer, it's hesitation," he murmured. Taking a deep breath, he stepped onto the bridge, Mira following closely. The bridge wobbled, threatening to tip, yet they kept their balance, trusting each other and their instincts. Halfway across, the bridge gave a small tremor, but Cale remained calm, moving with steady steps. Mira gripped his hand for support. Together they reached the other side, and the Sentinel nodded in approval. "The Stellar Codex awaits you," the Sentinel said, stepping aside. A doorway opened, leading to a chamber glowing with warm golden light. On a pedestal in the center lay the Codex, a cube of shimmering crystal, pulsating softly as if alive. Cale approached it cautiously. "This is it," he whispered. As he lifted the Codex, he felt a sudden connection. Images of the frontier, of the princess, of worlds in peril, flowing through him. Knowledge, guidance, and warnings mingled in a flood of understanding. Kale realized the Queen had been right. This journey was not about fighting, but learning, thinking, and preparing. Mira looked at him, awe in her eyes. "It's beautiful. And powerful," Kale nodded. "And dangerous if it falls into the wrong hands." The sentinel spoke once more. "You have passed the trials. Take the codex, and may your wisdom guide the frontier to safety." Kale, Mira, and Lyra exited the chamber, codex secured. Outside, the nebula stretched endlessly, a reminder of how much of the universe remained unknown, uncharted, and full of wonder. Kale turned to Mira. "This is just the beginning. The princess, the frontier, everything depends on what we do next. We've gained knowledge, yes, but the real challenges are still ahead." The Queen's voice echoed from the ship. "You have proven yourselves worthy. The journey continues. The Codex will guide you, but only if you remain united, clever, and brave." Kale looked at the stars, feeling the weight of responsibility and the thrill of adventure. He had fought for the princess once, bled for her, and survived the frontier's dangers. Now, he would face challenges not with weapons alone, but with wisdom, courage, and heart. The frontier stretched before them, mysterious and vast. And Kale knew, deep down, that this was the start of a journey that would test every part of him and shape the destiny of countless worlds. Kale stepped off the luminary, codex secured in his pack, and surveyed the settlement of Arkan Reach. The golden light of the chamber still lingered in his mind, and he could feel the weight of the knowledge he had gained. The codex pulsed softly, as if alive, guiding him toward a purpose he could not yet fully understand. Mira adjusted her pack beside him. "Kale, this place, it feels different." "Strange, but alive." Kale nodded. "The frontier is always alive, Mira, but this is something else. Every stone, every light seems like it's watching us. We need to be careful." They moved along the jagged cliffs, walking across bridges that swayed gently in the wind. From above, the twin suns of Terran 4 now dipped below the horizon, and the settlement's lights shimmered like fireflies. The codex hummed faintly, drawing them toward the central plaza. "You feel that?" Mira whispered. "It's like the air is humming." Kale nodded. "Not just the air. Something here wants to be found, but it won't reveal itself easily." As they entered the central plaza, a figure appeared. This time it was not the sentinel, but a young woman, robed in silver with a small emblem glowing on her chest. Her eyes, bright and curious, met Kale's. "Welcome," she said softly. "I am Solara, keeper of Arkan Reach. You have passed the Sentinel's trials, but the Codex is only the beginning. Knowledge is powerful, but understanding it is the real challenge." Kale bowed slightly. "We are ready to learn, and to protect it if necessary." Solara smiled faintly. "Good. The Codex chooses its guardian carefully. You have the courage, but the frontier has many questions, and some truths are hidden for a reason." Kale's curiosity deepened. "What truths? The history of the frontier?" Solara replied. "Of planets, rulers, and the forces that shaped them. There are worlds that vanished long ago, alliances forgotten, technologies lost. The Codex contains knowledge to guide those willing to act wisely. But beware, the Codex is not a weapon. Those who seek to use it for greed or power will face consequences beyond imagination." Kale studied her. "Then we must make sure it stays safe?" Solara nodded. "Exactly. And that is why the Queen sent you. The princess's safety depends not just on strength but on choices. Your journey will test everything you know about loyalty, courage, and wisdom." As Solara spoke, a sudden shimmer appeared in the sky, a holographic projection of the frontier, detailing stars, planets, and settlements. Lines of light connected locations Kale had never seen. "This," Solara said, "is what the Codex can reveal, but only if one understands it. Its wisdom grows as you learn to see the connections between worlds." Kale felt a surge of awe. The frontier was vast, far beyond anything he had imagined. The Codex was not merely a map, it was a guide to the future. Mira nudged him. "Looks like our adventure just got bigger." Kale smiled faintly. "Bigger than we even thought." Solara guided them to a smaller chamber within the settlement. Inside, delicate machines and glowing crystals surrounded a central table. "Here, you may study the Codex," she explained. "But time is short. Forces beyond Arkan Reach are already moving. You must understand quickly and act wisely. Kale set the codex on the table. As he opened it, beams of light projected into the air, revealing stars, planets, and swirling lines of energy connecting them. The pattern seemed almost alive, shifting and pulsing. He realized the codex was showing not just locations, but relationships, influence, and balance across the frontier. "This is incredible," Mira whispered. "It's like seeing the entire frontier at once." Kale studied the holograms, absorbing the information. Some planets were allies of the princess's kingdom, others were neutral, and a few were controlled by unknown factions. Strange symbols blinked intermittently, marking places of potential danger or opportunity. "See these?" Solara asked, pointing to blinking lights near the outer rim. "These worlds are in turmoil, their rulers are indecisive, their people uncertain. The frontier is fragile, and it requires someone with vision to guide it. That is why the Codex called to you Kale." Kale felt a sense of responsibility heavier than any he had carried in battle. This was not a fight of guns and horses. It was a fight of choices, of leadership, and of wisdom. The princess's safety depended not just on strength, but on foresight and cleverness. Suddenly, the Codex pulsed more strongly. A new projection appeared, showing a planet hidden within a cluster of nebulae. "This," Solara said, "is the origin of a force that could destabilize the frontier. You must investigate it, understand it, and prepare for what comes next." "Knowledge alone will not protect the princess, Kale. Action is required." Kale took a deep breath. "Then we go there. But not recklessly. We plan, we observe, and we act." Mira nodded. "I'm ready. We've faced dangers before, and we'll face more. But together we can handle it." Solara smiled faintly. "Your unity is your strength. The frontier is unpredictable. Even the most careful plans may shift, but those who act with wisdom and courage often prevail." Hours passed as Kale and Mira studied the Codex. They traced routes between planets, noted alliances and threats, and began to form a plan for the next phase of their journey. Every detail mattered. Every decision could ripple across worlds. Finally, Kale closed the Codex and looked at Mira. "We have what we need to move forward. But we must be cautious. The Queen's trust is a gift, but we don't yet know all her intentions."
"We follow her guidance, but we also follow our own judgment."
Mira nodded. "Agreed. The frontier has taught us that loyalty is important, but thinking for yourself is even more vital." Kale's gaze lifted toward the stars outside the window. The nebula shimmered in the distance, a reminder of the unknown challenges ahead. "The Codex will guide us," he said quietly. "But the choices we make, those will define the future." As they prepared to leave Arkan Reach, a sudden movement caught Kale's eye. Shadows shifted among the cliffs, figures watching them, unseen but present. He tensed. The frontier was full of eyes and ears, and not all of them friendly. Solara approached. "The Guardians remain vigilant, even after trials are complete. They protect the knowledge here. Do not fear them. They will observe, but they will not intervene unless necessary. Their presence is a reminder. Every action matters, and every choice has consequences." Kale nodded, understood. They boarded the luminary once more, Codex secured and plans in mind. The ship lifted smoothly, leaving Arkan Reach behind, the settlement glowing faintly like a star in the distance. Kale felt a mixture of excitement and responsibility. The frontier was larger, more complex, and more beautiful than he had imagined. But the stakes were higher now. The Queen appeared beside him on the ship's deck. "You have done well," she said. "The Codex is in your hands, but knowledge alone is not enough. You will encounter allies who may not seem trustworthy, and challenges that test every part of you. Trust in your courage, your heart, and your mind. That is the only way forward." Kale nodded. "We will not fail. The princess, the frontier. Everything depends on us doing this right." The Queen inclined her head. "Good. But remember, sometimes the most important battles are fought without weapons. Patience, observation, and understanding often achieve more than strength or speed." As the ship sped toward the hidden planet revealed by the Codex, Kale felt the enormity of the journey ahead. He had fought for the princess, bled for her safety, and now faced challenges that tested every part of him, mind, heart, and courage. And deep within him he knew one truth above all. The frontier was vast, unpredictable, and alive, and Kale was ready to face it, for the princess, for the Queen's mission, and for the countless worlds that depended on his choices. The nebula ahead shimmered with mysteries yet to be discovered, and Kale, steadfast and determined, prepared for the next chapter of an adventure that would change the fate of the frontier forever.